Voting isn't just going to the polls on election day anymore. Options like early voting, mail-in voting, and ballot drop boxes are available to more voters and are growing in popularity.
How to Vote, a tool created by Democracy Works, breaks down the options your state offers for casting a ballot, empowering you to decide when and where to vote.
Democracy works best when we all vote, but misinformation and confusion about election procedures have resulted in low voter turnout. How to Vote, a tool created by Democracy Works, takes the guesswork out of the voting process.
It's easy to use, and it helps folks from all over the country overcome many of the process barriers to voting.
Democracy Works is committed to helping you vote no matter what. Their tool, How to Vote, does just that.
You can use the tool to sign up for election reminders.
See what's on your ballot.
Get step-by-step assistance requesting your mail ballot.
Explore your options for returning your voted mail ballot.
Check your voter registration status.
Find your polling site.
And make sure that you have the appropriate ID.
Decide when and where you'll vote this year at howto.vote.
Hi, I'm Parker, and I use they/them pronouns.
Hi, I'm Mike, and I use he/him pronouns.
And welcome to the Graphic Novel Podcast.
Welcome to this week's show. This is a weekly show where we discuss graphic novels, zines, and other comics, and we throw in a little bit of real life.
Sometimes we're talking about queer issues, race issues. Sometimes we talk about death, and sometimes we talk about relationships.
We have a new episode every single Friday. If you like the show, we'd love it if you give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, or if you went on Spotify or YouTube or any one of those other platforms and gave us a rating. You can interact with us on Twitter, Facebook, and Insta.
Make sure that you subscribe so that every Friday when our podcast comes out, it'll show right up in your feed and we'll be waiting there for you to listen. Also, make sure that you share this podcast with your friends because that is the best way to help our podcast grow.
And if you want to leave us a voice message, you can by going to anchor.fm/graphic novel podcast. We might play it on the air. How's it going this week, Parker?
It's getting there. It's going. Yeah, surviving.
Surviving is the best, I think, that most of us can do during these times.
I don't know. How are you doing?
Kellyanne Conway is resigning from her post, so I think that things are on the upswing.
She was the only one left, right? She's the one person who's been there since the beginning. Although she wasn't always in the position she's in now, right? I don't remember.
She was his campaign manager that helped him get elected.
Oh, that's right. I knew that there was some kind of move that had happened.
Yeah.
She was
the
her
personal advisor to the president.
That was her official position that she walked away from now? Or that she
but
resigned?
Stephen Miller's also been there, I think, since the beginning, too. He's the evil.
Oh, Stephen Miller's still there?
He's the evil one. There was just some news.
You can tell that I pay close attention to.
I've been paying more attention. I gave it up for a while, but I've been paying
I just remember
attention.
the picture that mocked the whatever his TV show was that had "You're fired" across all their faces, and everybody was going
exactly.
except Pence. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
anyway.
we
their daughter went on a big Twitter rant or something, right? She went on a Twitter rant. Twitter rant and said that she was getting emancipated and going to be emancipated or starting that process.
And she was.
And her parents oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
We should probably worry about our family a little more than we are.
At the same time, Kellyanne said, I will be there at the end of the month. It's not even like I'm resigning today.
Oh,
I'll be there at the end of the month.
She'll be where at the end of the month?
At home to be with the family.
Oh, but it is the end of next month?
This month. She's still a week. It's not like she's quitting because her family's in crisis.
She's giving her one and a half week notice.
Exactly.
How
it was very
nice of her.
Yeah, very kind of her. Anyhow, got some news, got a couple reviews. Another book that was a pleasure to read. And that's the way this show is. We try to to talk about stuff that's good that we really like. And this week is no different than any other one.
Yeah, I don't know. We read books we like a lot.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, there are some stuff I've read where I'm like, you know what, I can't get through this, or a few of them like that, and it's like, okay, we're not doing those.
Yeah, and usually when you like really can't get into something, I love it.
Yeah,
I'm
sometimes.
like, what do you mean this book's amazing?
Oh well,
It doesn't happen very often.
No, let's do some news.
Okay, let's do it.
So delayed.
That's what she said.
Okay. Oh my goodness, why is this happening?
Oh, because we're very.
All right. This comes from Variety. Universal Content Productions is launching a comics shingle called UCP Graphic. The new initiative will focus on the publication of graphic novels from up-and-coming talent. And the first effort from UCP Graphic will be an original comic book series called Proctor Valley Road from Alex Child and veteran comics and TV writer Grant Morrison, who will co-write the first 5 issues. Boom Studios will publish the series, which tells the story of a group of teenage girls suspected in the disappearance of several teen boys in a 1964 California beach town. So that's interesting. So this is like going backwards. Instead of doing a TV show of a graphic novel, they're like turning around and creating a comic book subsidiary where they can do original stuff, which they can probably then turn into television.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Very.
And I only have one other thing here. So comics and graphic novel sales, this is according to ComiXology.com. Comics and graphic novel sales topped 1.2 billion in 2019, and this was estimated and analyzed by Milton Greep of ICV2.com and John Jackson Miller of ComiXology.com. Comics and graphic novel sales topped 1.2 billion. Let's see. Total comics and graphic novel sales to consumers in the U.S. and Canada were approximately 1.21 billion, an 11% increase over 2018. And the increase was due to continued rapid gains in graphic novel sales in the book channel and single-digit growth in sales of periodical comics in print stores. If we look at a few things here by format, that doesn't tell me anything. But yeah, everything's gone up slowly over. Okay, book channels 570 million, comic stores 525 million, digital download 90 million, and other channels 25 million. And it just keeps going up. This is the highest North American comic sales, combined print and digital.
Very cool.
So yeah, and here's the other thing. Graphic novels 765 million, comic books 355 million. Now, obviously, the dollar amounts, graphic novels cost more because they're bigger.
Right.
But they're also bigger. There's more pages. Comic books, this is like from single comic books probably added up. Still, 350 million is not nothing.
Yeah, no kidding.
Digital comics, $90 million. So if that's all the sales are, I wonder what like ComiXology is making. It's probably not a big thing. It's probably not a big thing for Amazon. It's probably just another one of those to have their fingers in so they can push it, or again, they have their own television stuff. They could always look because they have originals, which we're going to read today.
Yeah.
So they could always make, using
with the production stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. They could turn the comic books from ComiXology into TV shows.
Sales of kids' graphic novels in the book channel, which includes chain bookstores, mass merchants, major online retailers, and scholastic book fairs, were once again driving the format. Digital sales were back to 2018 levels as the growth in catalog titles across major platforms. So
I mean, it's been interesting to watch the way that graphic novels have become so popular with like middle school kids.
Yeah.
I mean, we go to those book fairs and stuff at our kids, and it's like the books that I read growing up, the chapter books, Babysitter's Club is now a graphic novel.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And I mean, I have my old Babysitter's Club books I gave to my kid, and they read them, but then they found we found the
new ones.
the Babysitter's Club graphic novels, and they ate them up. So, I mean, it's really interesting the way that they've been able to make that popular.
Yeah, no.
And start. I mean, I feel like it started with Captain Underpants, but I don't know. Would that be doing a disservice because that's
I'm sure that's not the first one, but yeah.
But I mean, that's where our kid started. Where our oldest started to get interested was their interest in Captain Underpants.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, and they love those. They love all of those different ones. It's very cool.
And it's amazing too to find. I mean, you've done a lot of the purchasing for our kiddo, and a lot of the stuff that you find is really interesting.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that they've liked it. We've gotten they like the one.
I mean, we catch them. We find them reading a lot of the graphic novels that we have because we often just leave them sitting around the house or whatever, and they'll just read them. And
but they love to read, which we've discussed before, which is amazing. I mean, that's something that you take with you the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
I mean, being just
and our kid
the love of reading too.
Yeah, and it's real reading. Don't let anybody tell you differently.
Oh yes.
If your kid's teacher is complaining that they're not reading real books, you can tell them
to suck off.
Where to
suck the monkey.
Suck the monkey.
Yes. Suck the monkey.
That's not how the song goes.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Oh, I must have missed something. Anyhow. So we've got 2 books. I'm going to do the one. I've only had a chance to read the one. This is a comics. Let's do this first. All right. This first one, ComiXology Original, presents a Stout Club limited series, Funny Creek. This is story by Raphael Scavone and Raphael Albuquerque, script by Raphael Scavone, art by Eduardo Medeiros, colors by Priscilla Tramontano, letters by Bernardo Bryce, covered by Eduardo Medeiros and Raphael Albuquerque, edited by Biz Strainer-Horn, and it's created by Scavone, Albuquerque, and Medeiros.
Oops, sorry about that.
That's fine. So Funny Creek starts out. It's first 4 issues that we got a preview of, and it starts out with this girl running down the street, and her mother, I think it's her mother's chasing her. Somebody's chasing her. I think it's her mother, and she's running away from her down the street. She turns to say that she's sorry, it wasn't my fault, and she runs right into a light post. One of those big old metal light posts.
Ooh, ouch.
Boom, gets knocked out. And she's like, I don't know. I can't remember how I got here. Everything was so bright at first. And then I noticed I changed. My hands, all of me, was like a cartoon. And she realized she was inside of Funny Creek. She became one of the characters. They could see her. She could interact with them. Wow. They could hurt her. She could hurt them.
Ouch.
But she also saw it as a TV show. And she had seen all the episodes, so she knew everything about it. And but you've got the sheriff of Funny Creek is a clown. And he's got, the deputy sheriff is this little guy. And there's the bad guy. And there's Lily. She's the main character. Clumsy the clown is the sheriff. Cody, his sidekick. Then there's evil villains. And it's just, it's fun. It's a fun book. I read the first 4 issues. And honestly, I'd like to read more.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was good. They're, like 30 pages.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's up to number 4. They just, you've got this, basically the issues are the bad guy comes to town. It's like a Western. Funny Creek is like a Western town.
Oh.
So it's like a Western, and she's in this, that's why there's the sheriff, the sheriff of town and stuff. And at the same time, there's two different another story going on where Lily is Clumsy's her favorite character. So
Okay.
she's dressing as this for a Halloween. I think it's a Halloween costume. Halloween costume contest, 1985, and she is dressing up, and her best friend is dressing up as the sidekick Cody, but he doesn't have the right gun to look right and everything, and so you got this story jumping back and forth between her in this comic or in this cartoon story and this other stuff. So I'm not sure where that's going because it hasn't got to that yet. But basically, there's a big showdown coming up between it started by issue 4, big showdown, and it's pretty cool. You find out whether the clown is apparently some of them realize that it's a TV show.
Some of the characters inside of it
in the show, because they're like, he's only doing this for the fame and everything. So it's like they seem to know what's going on, even though they didn't understand why she knew everything that had happened. It's like, how do you know all those things? So, but it's cool. I enjoyed it a lot.
Cool. Sounds interesting.
Funny Creek, ComiXology. Check it out. I don't know how many issues are out, but it's a good book. And all right, you want to get to the main review of the day?
Absolutely.
All right, this is another ComiXology original, and this is called Crema.
Esme, a barista, feels invisible like a ghost. Also, when Esme drinks too much coffee, she actually sees ghosts. Yara, the elegant heir to a coffee plantation, is always seen, but only has eyeyes for
Yara
Esme.
or Ira?
Is it Ira, you think? Yara? It could be Ira.
It starts with a Y, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'm sure you're right. Their world is turned upside down when the strange ghost of an old world nobleman begs Esme to take this letter from NYC to a haunted coffee farm in Brazil to reunite him with his lost love of a century ago, bringing sinister tidings of unrequited love. #1 New York Times bestselling cartoonist Johnny Christmas, writer, and Prism Award nominee Dante L.
Louise.
They don't have the whole name there. I don't know why. Brings you a haunted tale of love, ghosts, and coffee beans. Part of the ComiXology original line of exclusive digital content.
Interesting. All right, so
why didn't they put the?
I don't know. That's weird.
That's weird.
So the creators are Johnny Christmas, as you said, Johnny Christmas, #1 New York Times best-selling graphic novelist, writer of the Image Comics series Tartarus, and is perhaps best known for co-creating the series Angel Catbird with celebrated writer Margaret Atwood, as well as adapting William Gibson's lost screenplay for Alien 3 into the critically acclaimed graphic novel of the same name. Dante Luiz is a comic artist, editor, and illustrator from Brazil. He's a 2-time Prism Awards nominee and part of the 2020 Hugo finalist team for the speculative fiction magazine Strange Horizons. Ryan Ferrier is a Canadian comic book writer and letterer, having worked in both roles with every major North American comics publisher. His most recent work includes I Can Sell You a Body and Death Orb. Alta Hrafni is an Icelandic comics writer and editor who's worked on Eisner, Broken Frontier, and Zurich Award nominated projects. As a day job, she works at Hiveworks Comics as part of their editorial staff, and by night she actually does her day job because time zones are awful. And let's see, anything else? Let me go back to the beginning here. I thought there were some other people. Relish Brand New Experience is the design. Johnny Christmas did the cover, and Ryan Ferrier did the logo design. So, what you've got is Esme. She's a barista who, since she was a child,
she's afraid of the dark.
She's afraid of the dark. She's afraid of monsters. So as a kid, she would make coffee and basically keep herself up all night so she doesn't sleep a lot.
Where is this child's parents? That's all I
Okay.
could think. Like,
Okay, let's go to my past. You've heard this story before.
yeah.
At 3 years old, I could
Yeah,
make,
but I know where
I
your
could
parents
make
were.
tea. I could make tea. That was because the knobs to the stove were in the front. See, they weren't in the back where a kid couldn't reach them.
Oh my God.
It's an old stove where they were along the front. So that's why it was easy for me to do. But yeah, so I mean, kids can get up in the middle of the night and do stuff like that, especially if you had 2 floors.
Yeah, but make coffee. Well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, if your parents sleep, they won't smell it. But I mean, coffee has that aroma that.
Yeah, I
makes
can.
you-
When we make coffee, I can.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you, because sometimes you get up early and you go
Mhm.
downstairs and make coffee, and then you like to send me a text or whatever and say coffee's ready. But I can always smell it
Mhm.
before I.
Well, and crema is
oh my
that
God, yeah.
delicious little stuff.
Basically,
like
first pole of
yes. And when you do espresso, it's that little cream along the top. It's like the oily goodness of the coffee.
It's so good.
Yeah, it really is. And we've got an espresso maker, and I used to, when we figured out what that was,
because we're real Pacific Northwesterners.
It's
yeah.
so awesome doing that and getting that crema is really cool. But so Esme, since she's a kid, she can't sleep, so she drinks coffee. She stays up all night. But as a kid, drinking that coffee, finally these 2 worlds collided, and she actually was able to see a ghost. And this ghost becomes like her friend, kind of not really a bodyguard, but is with her like all the time. But does she only see her when
she calls her best friend at one point and later on?
But does she only see her when she's
only after drinking coffee?
After drinking a lot of coffee,
yes,
I think.
But only after drinking coffee does she see them, but her. And then you find out that she's been in situations where she really drank too much coffee, and now the ghosts appear to other people as well.
Because she drank too much coffee?
Because she drank too much coffee.
Okay, right. So, yeah. So, I mean, the story is she's a barista. Of course, she loves coffee. So it would only make sense that she would become a barista and just go along with that whole
I don't know.
coffee
Could you
loving.
be a barista? I love the smell of coffee so much. Like when I walk past a coffee shop and I can smell the coffee, even those coffee stands.
Mhm.
If you are not from the Pacific Northwest, you have no idea what a coffee stand is. Probably. I'm sure there's other places like this, right? But they have essentially all over the place in the Seattle area, just like sheds. That have just enough space for 2 people and a big espresso machine and like a fridge and stuff, but it's I mean it's pretty cramped in there. And a lot of times they sell bagels or whatever, but they sell espresso drinks. And they have windows on each side, so it's just a drive-through. You can pull up, one person on each side, and sometimes it's one person working both windows. Sometimes there's 2 people in there working each window. And so we have coffee stands and espresso stands everywhere. In fact, we live in a suburb of Seattle, and a small suburb. I guess I don't even know. Is this a suburb?
It's a couple suburbs away.
But there's
from
like
Seattle.
Several even in this small town. The small town I grew up in, there's several. So
yeah, there's more than in this town. I think. Oh no, there's more than that. There's at least 3 that I can think of. There might be 4 here.
Yeah, and there's 3 or
more
4.
Than
4. Yeah,
there's a bunch in
north. Yeah. So anyway,
it's very popular.
Point being, it's a popular thing. They're everywhere. But then you go outside of here and nobody has them. When I moved to Buffalo, that was one of the things that I wanted to do, was to open up one of these coffee stands.
See, but at the same time,
nobody would probably come to it.
But at the same time,
it's not something they're used to.
There's
fact,
a Starbucks and a Tim Hortons on every corner.
This is what? Yeah.
In Buffalo.
Not so many Starbucks.
But there's Tim Hortons.
Although
and
that's become more popular.
Places.
When I moved to Buffalo, there weren't nearly as many Starbucks as there are now.
And
Starbucks moving in was a huge deal.
In the one neighborhood, there was a local chain. I think they only had a couple stores at the time.
Just 2.
And when Starbucks announced that they were going to be moving in just down the block, the neighborhood went fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It was a huge newspaper, television
but
thing.
Guess what? That fucking Starbucks was packed every day. It was always
packed. That was that one. And then, but then they opened up next to the other one too. The one was
across the
in
street.
Elmwood, and then there
they
was
had
one.
a parking lot, which
Yes,
was a
they
big
had a
deal
parking lot.
to have downtown and have a parking lot.
And you like Starbucks, so sometimes we would go sit in
I
there.
was from Seattle, so Starbucks was my jam.
But there was also the parking lot, so if you brought the car down to meet me after work, it would be easier to park in there if you can get a spot, because there was only like 6
and
spots.
We saw famous people there.
You're sitting there and see one of the hockey players come in and get coffee or walk by.
And remember the band?
Oh yeah.
So I'm sitting. I am a very weird person. I don't know if I'm weird. I don't know, but it seems weird to me. I really enjoy bands and their music, but I don't know anything about the bands themselves. I don't always know what the names of the bandmates are, or really anything about them. So I knew that this band was from Buffalo, but that was like the extent of my knowledge of them. I'd seen them once live. I had a shirt. Like, I enjoyed their music. We sang it, listened to it nonstop in the car. It is my album to listen to remember that first, you know, my first summer in Buffalo, and all the fun that was, you know, moving out and being on my own and everything. Anyway, so I'm wearing the shirt. I'm in a Starbucks, and this guy comes up to me and he's like, "Oh, my friend is in that band, the shirt that you're wearing." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then he kind of walks away, and then he comes up later, and he's like, I have this friend with a camera. Could I take a picture with you?" And I'm like, "Sure." And he didn't. Then I realized later that he didn't. This wasn't his friend. This was just some random guy with a camera that he saw. And he's like, "Can I take a picture with this person?"
And then send it to me.
Yeah, because then they exchanged numbers, right? And then he left and got his drink and left. And then the guy with the camera was still hanging out there. So it was like he just saw this guy with the camera. And he's like, "Let's take a picture of this person." So anyways, I was like, it felt like a really awkward situation. I am very socially awkward. I don't know how to interact with people. So I was just like, okay, that was a weird situation. So I go home and look the band up, and it was a band member. I don't remember if it was the lead singer or what, but I was so embarrassed because I love this band and I'm wearing their t-shirt, and I just look like a complete and total poser, even though I could sing every song on their album. And I think it was their first album, and I could sing every one, you know, the deep tracks and everything. Yeah. Oh, really? You don't? They didn't do anything else?
I don't think so. I think they broke up.
See, I don't know these things. I just enjoy that album. So anyway, I felt, I don't know if I've ever told that story to very many people, that I felt like a complete and total idiot.
Yeah, but you know, it's like, and the album was really good.
Yeah.
The album was really good.
I mean, now I sing some of them and I'm like, oh, this song's like,
well, yeah, socially
not cool.
Yes, but it was a good album. It was a good album. A lot of poppy, you know, singable songs, catchy.
Yeah, definitely.
But that happened before. There were other bands. Buffalo is just really hard to get out of. There were other bands that I liked. Again, full album.
You would know Buffalo was hard to get out of for you too.
Full great songs, and the band couldn't go anywhere. It's really hard.
I think that's probably hard for most people. I don't know if it's exclusive to Buffalo.
Maybe not. It depends on the area. Like when Nirvana made it here, like all of a sudden every label was looking for anybody that sounded or looked like them, and they were grabbing all kinds of bands. I mean, look at all the bands that came out of here. Audioslave is part, but Soundgarden and Pearl Jam, right. And they're not all the same, but they all came out of Seattle all around the same time.
Yeah.
And and there were other bands too that came out at that same time. So I mean, it has you have a better chance, I think, here.
Yeah, but Seattle's also a bigger city than Buffalo.
It is. Anyway, getting back to the story here, Crema.
Maybe we should talk about the art for a second.
The art is great. Love the art.
Has muted. It's full color, but it's like this muted browns, and which is fitting for the coffee.
The coffee, yes. The browns, light reds, some grays, blacks. But yes, it's very, very coffee-ish.
Oh my God, the coffee! Did you love that? Those panels with the coffee that's dripping into the. Oh my God, I was like, I need some espresso right now.
No, that's really good.
Yeah, I love that. So, and the scooping, like you can smell. I mean, I get, I don't know, but I could smell I could smell the beans that when
that's
they were
not what I
showing.
smell.
Oh, what'd you smell?
Just go ahead.
What?
Just go ahead.
What did you smell?
Not beans.
A bad joke?
Yeah. That's exactly what I smell. Go ahead. Yes, but yes, I understand, and I've done that before too. I don't know if I did when I first read this or not, but yeah, just looking at it, you can imagine, being in the coffee shop and just smelling that.
Yeah, I mean, you can smell it down the block from the coffee shop sometimes. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite places to go is at Black Drop up in Bellingham. And it's just, you just get this feeling when you walk in there and you feel so good. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And it smells so good. You open the door and it's always really hard to open, but it's so worth it. Just because
they don't want you to come in.
No, they want everyone to come in. They're very well, except well, I won't go into it. But
except for everybody that's not pro Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ, and yes,
right.
They want good people to go in there.
Yes, they are pro Black Lives Matter, pro queer, and everything. Yep. So anybody else, they can piss right off. They don't need their business.
Nope.
But yeah, that's an awesome coffee shop. Love it up there. Anyway. That was way off topic we were talking about coffee.
Talking about the colors and the art and
oh yeah, I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
no, the artwork
really and the artwork is the drawings themselves are amazing, realistic. Gorgeous people, of course.
Oh yeah, but people, human beings, not everybody's not a stick that looks like a Barbie doll and everything, and they look like real people.
Yeah, even got the caterpillar eyebrows.
But so Esma,
Esma or Esme?
Esme. I'm combining their two names, I think. Esme, and she is the shop that she works at was sold, so she ends up going to this party, like the sale
going
party.
At the mandatory.
Yes, it was a mandatory after work party.
Yeah.
With with DJ and everything, and
that you had to go, and she's like, I don't want.
She didn't want to go, but
socialize.
She didn't want to go, but her friend borrowed her keys to like open up a cabinet or something at work, and she forgot to come back to her.
That's right.
So she had to go. She had to go to the party to get her keys back, and she ends up meeting this.
Which is funny because she has to go to the party in her uniform too,
yes, exactly.
with her apron and everything. She can't go home and change.
Right, but she has to go. She goes to the party because she wants to get her keys, but then she ends up meeting this woman who turns out to be the former owner of.
Well, the soon-to-be former
owner of the shop
of the cafe,
because the cafe is owned by a coffee plantation, basically a farm in Brazil. And the family owns that, and they own this cafe too. And yes, and this is how this whole thing it all grows together, because then they decide to go. They become lovers, and and Brazil is tied to this, and she decides. What did we say her name was? The other one.
Yeah, Yara.
Yara, something like that. YRA. Oh no, wait. What is it?
Yara.
Yara.
That's how I was saying it.
Oh, Yara?
You said it was E.
Yara. Oh, you're probably right.
Yara.
Maybe because I was thinking of Iria. It's probably Yara. You're probably right.
I'm probably not. I don't.
It's probably. We've had that discussion before with people, and even the writer and the artist had different interpretations.
Oh my God, that's
before.
right. I remember that. Okay, yeah.
So we're not sure. We'll go with Yara though.
Because we're English speaking, and we just assume English is
Yara.
That's terrible.
But no, so I mean, Yara and Esme fall in love, and they end up going to Brazil, because she decides that.
Well, because there's a wait. Maybe we shouldn't give that part away. But there's something happens.
Right, stuff happens,
and she meets
another ghost.
She was feeling like Yara was feeling like she was missing her.
Yeah, she's a model in LA.
She's a model in LA, but she grew up on this coffee farm,
right.
and she felt like she was missing it, and that she was feeling pulled to go back. So this event happens, and it sounds like it kind of felt like a sign to her that it was time to go home. So
yeah,
they had, fallen in love at this point, and it was like, it seems like anyway.
Yeah.
It did seem like it kind of happened fast, but
yeah, but you know how that goes.
Yeah, it was the pacing was interesting. What did you think of the pacing of the story?
It was good.
It was good. I liked it. It wasn't.
Good.
It didn't. Dwell.
It's 122 pages with some background art and story and stuff like that.
Yeah, it didn't dwell on anything too long, but it was enough detail that you could draw into it. And it jumped around a little bit. Sometimes it went like a few weeks before, and like it started out, you learned about Esme's childhood, right? We talked about that, and then it jumps to current time, and then it jumped back to her childhood to explain her relationship with her best friend Ghost. And so I did like the pacing of it, though.
And to go along with that, there's like some sections where when they got to Brazil and when they had been there for a bit, and there's no words or very few words, and it's just like scenes, and it's like showing what the area looks like, and them cool. Like shopping and things like that. And it's just giving you a little background and showing them, loving each other, and all these things are going on. I mean, the story, the description of the story, the blurb does say that, this thing happens. This former lover, who's a ghost, he's trying to get back to Brazil, and when he finds out that Esme can see him, he uses her as the conduit, as the conduit to get back to Brazil and to try to reclaim his love. And that's where the whole twist of the story is. You don't know until you read it all, but it's really good. I mean, I love the pace of it, like you said, and the artwork is great. I mean, like they have to start each chapter that it has a title, and there's like pictures of like a coffee plant and stuff.
Oh my god, I love those drawings.
And it's really detailed and beautiful. And
I love the font that they chose for those pages too.
Oh, did you? You like that?
Yeah. Like the grind. Yeah, it's I really like. I love those chapter markings.
Yeah, it's really good. And
I never really. I mean, we drink. I mean, I don't know. I don't drink a ton of coffee, but I'm a daily coffee drinker. I don't think, and I think a lot of people don't think about the origination that's not the word, origin
of coffee,
of coffee, what it starts as, and where it comes from, and the work that goes into making that bean. And so if I was to look at this plant without having like, it looks like a gorgeous plant and I'm drawn to it, but I wouldn't have guessed that it was coffee, because coffee beans don't look like what you see that you get from the store. I mean, I kind of feel like it's similar to meat. You don't think about where, unless you grew up on a farm,
right? You
don't think about where the meat comes from. And I think that people, the coffee's kind of the same way, because it comes to you, already roasted, already, but you don't. You know that it's a bean,
right?
It starts somewhere,
right?
But anyway,
yeah, exactly. Was it that or some other plant too that we were recently talking about? I think with the kids, that it grows completely different than you think it does. I forgot what it was, but it's one of those
that conversation has that. Yeah, I don't remember what it was though.
But in the back of the book, they have the cultural and visual references of Crema. Artist Dante Luiz explored different aspects of Brazilian culture and aesthetics to develop the rich visual identity of Crema. The town that they're in is not a real town. It was created solely for it, but it was inspired by historical cities. And there's photos that he used for visual references. They did the fashion too for Yara. Despite the
I love that too. Thinking about what goes into. I mean, they went into a ton of research, and I mean, I'm betting a lot of times they do, but they kind of had the telenovela thing going on, and so I love that background stuff, to see where that process, where it started. That was really interesting. I love that they included that.
What they did was her style, Yara's style, mirrors what is found on the streets of Brazil and everyday department stores across the country. Cool, fresh, and affordable. But then the costume design for the ghost storyline, and then they have the process of creating Crema, including like some scripts and some roughs and inked pages, colored pages, and character sketches, and just a lot of cool stuff. It's really I like seeing that creative process stuff.
Yeah.
Being a creator.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not a creator. I'd still love seeing that stuff. It's so interesting to me.
Yeah.
I know one of my favorite shows is and comics, or Steven Universe, and seeing some of those drawings from the early stages and early processes. I love that. I love seeing how things originated and stuff, especially because the creator, Rebecca Sugar based the main character on their little brother.
Yeah.
And so there was kind of a process of drawing him out. And,
yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So I mean,
Anyway.
in the story, this the ghost that they bring back, that at one point
they bring back to Brazil.
At one point, Yara can't see it, but then I think because she overdrinks. Overdrinks the caffeine, and then Yara can see it. But then everybody can. Everybody
and the
can see it.
And of this town are taking over.
They're coming, and it's a big kind of like Funny Creek. They're just taking over, and it's this big showdown that happens, and then you find out how it all comes out. But it's good. There's a lot of different. You've got the love between these two women.
Oh yeah.
You've got this love story, which is really good.
And the love story, it's one of those queer stories that doesn't have to do with the pain and suffering of queer life. It's not a coming out story. It's not a harassment, story. They don't get bullied or anything like that. They're just two queer people just living their lives and falling in love. And it's one of those happy stories that we talk about a lot, that we hope that that we love more, to see that there's more, and that it's something we love to see. Because we need queer representation like that.
So that's really good. There's that, and then the ghost story, which is like a historic story, and it's tied to Yara's family, to her grandparents.
Yeah.
And it's tied to them.
Great grandparents?
Something, grandparents or great grandparents?
I think it's great grandparents.
And it's tied to them. So you've got this cool historic tie to it. And I like the way they tied it all together. They tied all these different little pieces together to bring it all, to the conclusion. But you've got the other, there's other characters. They show, what does she call them? I forgot what she called the Octane guys.
Oh yeah.
The jocks from Octane.
Is it jocks? It's something along that.
Yeah.
Along that
the new owners and management for the coffee shop that buys her coffee shop, and Esme just didn't like them. They were just dudes. She was not interested.
Yeah, in Octane jocks. Yep.
Yeah, Octane jocks. But yeah, so I mean, and you get those different characters and. And you can feel all those. You know exactly who those kind of people are. You've seen them if you've worked at a certain place. You've seen those kind of people who they're necessary in some businesses. You need some of those people in order to make businesses like flourish. But they're also the kind of people who I really don't like.
Yeah, I don't like to deal with them.
And that's why my bicycle messenger business never shot through the roof, because I wasn't one of those people.
Well, I don't know if that's the reason.
That's one of them.
Because I think that you could have potentially hired.
I tried to.
One of those people.
I did hire someone.
That was like that?
Yes, I hired him, and I was going to give him a cut of the company.
Oh, really? When?
Yes, I don't remember when.
Before I met you?
Yes, but I had hired him. He was going to do sales, and I was going to give him a cut of the company, and then he never showed up.
What?
Yeah, we went through the interview, everything, and then he never showed up. He disappeared. I couldn't get.
Oh my God! That always happens to you.
I had so many good things with that business, but just running a business, there were so many things too. I had, because when we first started out, we had pagers that I gave to the messengers, And then
What's a pager?
Yeah, exactly. And the one guy didn't come back, so I had to go to his house and get the pager from him. And
oh yeah,
people would come in for one day, and because everybody wanted to be a bike
people,
messenger, and
but
then
nobody wanted to actually work.
They didn't want to work; they wanted to ride their bike. And then, when it pours all day and you're wearing jeans and
the summer that I worked,
sweatshirt.
the summer that I worked for you, I don't know if I had any rainy days or anything. It was generally pretty good weather, and
summer was nice. The spring and fall,
but I was not a bike rider.
Story.
I was not a bike rider, and you would give me those fucking.
I give everybody the worst ones. So I didn't have to do them, so I could run and do a lot of other stuff.
I know, because you did a lot of the court filings and stuff, so you knew your way through there, and you could get through quickly, so you knew that the stuff would get in and all that. But anyway,
how did we get to that part of it?
I don't know. We were talking about the octane jocks.
Oh yeah.
The sales type people.
Oh, man,
I know we have this friend. I'm gonna go off again. We have this friend who my brother has a friend who we hang out with. We have hung out with. I haven't seen them in forever. But then she has a friend who comes to her parties. She used to invite us to our parties because we lived in the same little town, and now we don't. But and my brother was usually in town for her parties, so then we would go too. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I like the couple a lot, but we're connected through my brother. Anyway, point being, she has this friend who is very sales. He's like one of those jocks, but he's also a people pleaser, and he will buy drinks for the whole room, even though his bank accounts in the negative. Yeah. He's just one of these but he would come up to you and just I don't know, just be very salesy to you in a social environment, and it was just very awkward.
That's just how he was,
and I didn't know how to interact with him. It was very difficult for me. So I don't know. I was uncomfortable anytime he was around. Not because he was a bad person.
No, he wasn't.
But just because
turned you off, though.
I didn't. Yeah, but I didn't know for sure how to interact with him. So
I mean, we did find out more about him later, but that's still anyhow. It's I don't know.
Anyway,
it's just the way some people are.
Yeah, but getting back to and rounding out the episode.
Yep.
Really enjoyed Crema. You can find that I think on Kindle.
Yeah, it's Amazon's
it's
ComiXology.
From Amazon, so you can download it there. It's a digital book. I'd love to have a paper copy because that's the way I am.
Yeah, it is nice. It's a beautiful book. And the story is really good. And and if you like coffee,
it was kind of a little bit of lots of things that I enjoy. Yeah, it was interesting.
A little bit of a queer love, a little bit of coffee, a little bit of ghost. I mean, it's really a good story.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, but thank you very much. We got the preview copy of that, and appreciate that. Same thing with Funny Creek, another good one, ComiXology Originals. So check those books out. And until next time, my name is Mike.
And I'm Parker.
And this is
the Graphic Novel Podcast.